Most men go through life completely baffled by the way women can switch their feelings overnight. One day she's looking at you like you're her whole world, swearing you're her forever, and the next she's cold, distant, and acting like you're a stranger she barely remembers. And the worst part is, as a man, you start torturing yourself with questions you'll never get real answers to. You lie awake at night replaying her words, wondering if she meant them. Didn't she mean it when she said she'd never leave? Didn't she mean it when she was crying in your arms, promising she loved you more than anything? Didn't she mean it when she said she wanted a future with you? The truth is, yes, she did mean it in that moment. But that moment was built on how she felt, not on unshakable truth. Her world isn't grounded in permanence like yours. Her world is built on feelings, and when her feelings shift, her entire reality shifts right along with them. That's why men get blindsided. Because men live in the world of logic and facts. We take words as commitments, promises as contracts, and actions as proof. To us, if something is true today, it will still be true tomorrow unless something tangible changes. But women live in a world ruled by emotion and perception. They don't see things as they are, they see things as they feel they are. When she feels safe, loved, and adored, she believes it will last forever. But when fear, doubt, or insecurity creep in, her perception twists, and the same man who was her hero yesterday can feel like her enemy today. That difference between logic and emotion changes everything for men who don't understand it. Here's the piece most men never fully grasp: women live in a world that exists only inside their minds. Their emotions don't just color reality, they create it. To her, feelings aren't fleeting, they are truth. When she feels loved, you are her forever, her dream man, the one she swears she'll never let go of. But the moment she feels neglected, even slightly, you become her enemy in her story. When she feels beautiful, she'll look at you like you're her king, the man who makes her glow. But when she feels unattractive or insecure, she'll believe you're ignoring her even if you just told her how stunning she looked yesterday. In her emotional world, what she feels in the present moment becomes the only truth that matters. This is where men get caught in the trap. We try to anchor her words as if they're permanent. We believe forever means forever. We believe I'll never leave means commitment through storms. But for her, those words were tied to an emotion she felt at that time. Once the emotion shifts, the meaning of the words dissolves. That's why arguing with her rarely works. You can pull out facts, proof, receipts, and reminders, but none of it matters if her emotions don't match. Logic belongs to your world. Feelings belong to hers. And when the two collide, feelings win in her reality. Trying to debate her emotions with logic is like shouting numbers at a thunderstorm. It doesn't matter how correct you are, the storm won't stop. This is why so many men walk away from relationships exhausted, confused, and doubting themselves. They were trying to ground themselves in a reality that never truly existed outside of her emotions. This is where men fall into the deepest confusion, when women speak in contradictions that make no logical sense but feel completely real to her in the moment. She'll say, "I want a man who leads, but I also want to lead sometimes." She'll tell you, "I want a provider, but money isn't important." She'll cry out for a strong, stoic man who can protect her, then demand vulnerability and emotional openness in the same breath. To a man, this looks like hypocrisy, like lies, like deliberate games. But to her, it isn't. It's truth as she feels it in that moment. She isn't chasing logic, she's chasing emotions. She isn't searching for consistency, she's searching for highs. That's why she can swear she loves you more than life today and then walk away tomorrow without hesitation. To her, both were real. The truth didn't die, it simply shifted. And when you don't understand this, you spend your life chasing stability in a place where stability doesn't exist. You cling to her words, desperate to hold on to something permanent, but words tied to emotions aren't permanent. They melt the moment her feelings change. The biggest trap for men is thinking they can fix this inconsistency with more love, more logic, more effort. You think if you just explain clearly, if you just show her enough proof, she'll finally see and stop shifting. But that never works, because she isn't operating in your world of facts. She's operating in hers, where feelings override everything. The more you chase her changing truths, the more lost you become. What feels like connection one day becomes emptiness the next, and before long, you're not only doubting her, you're doubting yourself. Men often walk away from relationships feeling like they've lost their minds, not because they didn't give enough, but because they kept trying to hit a target that never stayed still. She wanted romance, so he brought flowers, dates, surprises. Then she said she needed stability, so he focused on consistency and security. Then she complained she missed the spark, so he tried to reignite passion with effort and intensity. But just when he thought he had given her what she wanted, she accused him of being inconsistent. No matter what he did, it was never enough. And the truth is, it wasn't because he failed, it was because her emotional world kept moving the goalposts. This endless cycle drains men dry. They give time, energy, money, and love, and still get told it's not enough. And the natural reaction is self-doubt. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I did neglect her. Maybe I don't know how to love properly. That's the trap, confusing her shifting emotions with your actual performance as a man. What she feels isn't always tied to what you've done, it's tied to the story her emotions are writing in that moment. And because her feelings constantly rewrite the script, you'll always find yourself chasing a new version of her fantasy. This is why so many men end up burned out. They keep thinking effort will fix it, when in reality effort can't solve fantasy. You can't outgive a story that's being rewritten daily. Her feelings aren't lies, but they're not stable truth either. They're temporary waves, and if you tie your worth to them, you'll rise and crash with every tide until you barely recognize yourself anymore. The only way a man survives in this dynamic is by building his own world before ever letting her step inside it. If you don't have a mission, if you don't have values, if you don't have discipline, you'll get swallowed whole by her shifting emotions. That's why boundaries matter so much. Boundaries aren't about control, they're about reality. A woman will always test a man, not necessarily because she's cruel or manipulative, but because it's instinct. She wants to know if you'll bend, if you'll crumble, if you'll lose yourself trying to keep her happy. The men who fold under pressure, who let disrespect slide, who tolerate chaos just to keep the peace, those are the men who end up enslaved by her moods. The man who calmly enforces boundaries, on the other hand, creates stability. He doesn't yell, he doesn't beg, he doesn't argue. He simply says, this is what I accept. This is what I don't. And even if she fights against it, deep down she respects it. Because boundaries make her feel safe. Boundaries prove you live in reality, not in her fantasies. But beyond boundaries, there's an even greater shield, detachment. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop collapsing. It means you can love her deeply, but you don't let her shifting emotions dictate your worth. When she pulls away, you don't chase, you observe. When she lashes out, you don't explode, you stay calm. Detachment keeps you rooted while she drifts through storms. And paradoxically, this is what draws her closer, because women crave the man they cannot shake. Detachment isn't coldness, it's control. And control is the difference between a man who survives relationships and a man who gets destroyed by them. Not every woman is capable of stepping into reality with you. Some are too attached to their fantasies, too hooked on the dopamine of emotional highs, too lost in the cycle of chasing sparks instead of stability. You can't save women like that. You can't argue them into reason, and you can't love them into consistency. If you try, you'll drown in their chaos. The strongest move a man can make is to let go, not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. You weren't built to live in illusions. You were built to build reality, and the woman who can't join you there isn't meant to walk beside you. This is why your mission matters more than anything. When your life is grounded in truth, discipline, and standards, you stop being shaken by her storms. You don't beg for her to stay, you don't fear her leaving, and you don't measure your worth by her shifting moods. If she respects your world, she can remain in it. If she doesn't, she will drift away, and either way, you stay unshaken. That's real strength, not controlling her, not fixing her, not bending for her, but leading yourself so firmly that nothing pulls you off center. And here's the paradox, women will always circle back to the man who stood solid. Even if she spends years chasing illusions, when the fantasy collapses and the chaos leaves her empty, she'll remember the man she couldn't break. The man who lived in truth. Whether she returns or not doesn't matter, because you'll already be fulfilled without her. That is the power of reality. Her world may shift with the wind, but yours is the one that lasts. And that, brother, is how you win.